Have you ever felt like someone was watching you, even when you were completely alone? Like a shadow that followed you everywhere, but you could never quite catch it? Like someone knew intimate details about your life that you never shared with anyone? Stay with me till the end of this story, because what I am about to tell you will make you check every lock in your house tonight, delete your social media accounts, and question every stranger who knows your name. It started when I was 13 in my 8th grade English class. Mrs. Henderson announced we would be writing letters to students from Riverside Middle School as a cultural exchange Penpal project. She made it sound educational and fun. I was painfully shy back then, the kind of kid who ate lunch alone and avoided eye contact, so I didn't expect much from this assignment. Maybe a few boring letters about homework and favorite TV shows. When I got my first letter 2 weeks later, it was from a boy named Liam. His handwriting was messy but oddly charming, like he was trying hard to make a good impression. His words were warm and funny. He said he lived with his grandmother, loved drawing comic book characters, and had a weird obsession with horror stories. He made me laugh for the first time in weeks. Finally, someone who understood my love for Stephen King novels. At first, everything felt perfectly innocent. We wrote every single week without fail. He would tell me about his eccentric grandmother who collected vintage dolls, his lazy cat named Shadow who slept on his homework, his struggles with math class, and his dreams of becoming an artist. I found myself sharing things I never told my closest friends. My secret crush on the boy in my chemistry class. My fear of thunderstorms that kept me awake at night. Even my parents' constant fighting that I pretended didn't bother me. It felt safe to open up to someone who lived 2 towns away and would never judge me face to face. But then something changed. One crisp October day, I got a letter that wasn't like all the others. It started normally enough, asking about my weekend plans. But then I read, "I saw you walking home from school yesterday. You looked beautiful in your red jacket. The one with the silver buttons." My hands started trembling. Liam was supposed to live in Riverside, 43 miles away. He wasn't supposed to know what I looked like, let alone what I wore to school. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe our schools had exchanged photos for the project. Maybe someone had described me to him. But deep down, a cold dread was already settling in my stomach. His letters became increasingly personal after that. He began describing details about my neighborhood that no outsider should know. The old oak tree in my front yard with the tire swing. The bright yellow mailbox my dad painted last summer. The fact that our kitchen light stayed on until exactly 10:30 every night. Once, he wrote something that made my blood freeze. "You shouldn't sit so close to your bedroom window when you're redoing homework." Anyone could be watching from the street. That night, I yanked my curtains shut and triple-checked my window lock. I started doing my homework at the kitchen table instead. When I finally worked up the courage to tell Mrs. Henderson, she just laughed. "Oh, honey, he's probably just trying to impress you with creative writing," she said, barely looking up from her grade book. Young boys say silly things sometimes. My parents had the same reaction when I showed them the letters. "You're overreacting, sweetie," my mom said while folding laundry. "He's just a lonely kid with an active imagination." So I kept writing back, but I became extremely careful about what I shared. No more personal details, no more mentions of my daily routine, no more clues about my real life. Months passed in this uncomfortable balance. Then everything shattered completely. One day, a letter arrived that made my hand shake so violently I could barely hold it. It said, "I don't like your new friend." The boy with the black backpack and the motorcycle stickers on his notebook. "He makes you laugh too much. Stay away from him, or I'll make sure he regrets talking to you." My heart nearly stopped. The only time I had ever spoken to that specific boy was yesterday at the bus stop. A brief conversation about a history test. I hadn't mentioned him in any letters. I hadn't told anyone about our conversation, which could only mean one terrifying thing. Liam had been there, watching me. I immediately stopped replying to his letters. But they didn't stop coming. If anything, they arrived more frequently, each one more desperate and increasingly threatening. Why aren't you writing back to me? I thought we were friends. Real friends don't ignore each other. I know where you eat lunch now. Table 3, by the window. You look sad when you're alone. Don't make me do something we'll both regret. Then came the letter that changed everything forever. Instead of his usual notebook paper, the envelope contained something that made me scream so loudly my neighbors came running. It was a Polaroid photograph of me, sleeping peacefully in my own bed, in my pajamas with the little cats on them, my stuffed elephant visible on the nightstand. Someone had been inside my house, inside my bedroom, watching me while I was completely vulnerable. My parents finally believed me. We called the police immediately. Detective Morrison spent hours trying to trace the return addresses, but every single one was fake. The Postal Service had no record of anyone named Liam at those locations. He was a ghost, a phantom who somehow knew everything about my life. For weeks afterward, I couldn't sleep without checking under my bed and in my closet multiple times. We installed new locks, security cameras, and motion sensor lights. Eventually, my parents decided we needed to move to another town entirely. New school, new address, a new phone number. I changed my name on all social media accounts. We told everyone it was for my dad's job, but I knew the real reason. I thought I was finally safe. I thought Liam was just a terrible memory I could leave behind. But last week, 7 years later, I found an envelope in my mailbox. No postmark, no return address, hand-delivered. Inside, there was a single piece of paper with familiar messy handwriting. It said, "I still miss you, red jacket. Distance doesn't matter when you really care about someone." I've been patient, but I think it's time we finally met in person. So if you're watching this, please learn from my nightmare. Lock your doors and windows every single night. Close your curtains before the sun goes down. Never share personal information with strangers online or through mail. And remember, not all Penpals are innocent school kids looking for friendship. Some of them are predators who will follow you for years, waiting for the perfect moment to make their move. Check your mailbox carefully. Trust your instincts when something feels wrong. And never ever assume that distance keeps you safe from someone who's truly obsessed.